Alrighty, we are live. We are live here today on a Sunday. Going to do another Facebook Live, just going in a little bit deeper on what I discussed yesterday. If you guys join, I basically talked about my not marketing, but just what it takes to get a deal in real estate, right? So today, what I'm going to discuss is actually um, how to spend your money, how to allocate your money, what to expect if you actually have a limited budget. Realistically, guys, what can you expect? I'm not going to sit here and give you the hype here and tell you can close 10 deals with no money. So, but also too, I've seen people that have spent 15, 20, 30 grand on education without any marketing. At least if you spend it on marketing, you have leads to follow up with. You can always get education. So I'm going to go and post this in my Facebook group. So just give me a moment and I'm going to do a comms check just to make sure I'm good to go. All right, again, just give me one moment. Let me just post this in my Facebook group, and then we'll go ahead and get to it. In the meantime, I'll open up my board. I love this little board here, and it's a Miro board, slowly becoming my favorite. It's replaced the Lucid chart. So I want to go over this in a little bit as soon as I get this thing posted. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday so far as well. Sure. Facebook group. Right now. Sure, my audio is good. Okay, cool. All right, great. So my audio sounds great. Let's go ahead and run into it. So guys, what I'm going to go ahead and go over here today are the actual costs it takes to get to 5 deals per month. So yesterday, what I actually did was I went over, if I could go to my board here, I went over just the funnel it takes to get to a deal a month. Today, I'm going to actually break down the cost. So this is all well and good, but a lot of people may say, well, how much does it cost? And just to recap this funnel here, because this is important, because this is going to be a continuation of yesterday. And if you didn't catch yesterday's training, if you're on YouTube, check my YouTube. It's the most recent live before this one. And on Facebook, it's going to be the post right before this one. I shared it on my profile and the Build to Scale Wholesaling group. So what we have here are how many records it takes to get a 1% texting rate for our 1% lead rate for texting and 0.5% lead rate for cold calling. Essentially, the 80-20 of this model you're looking at here, this funnel, is for every 10,000 records that I pull and cold call and skip trace and text, I'll generate a 1% lead rate. So 100 leads with texting in a month, and then 0.5% lead rate with cold calling. So if I am doing cold calling and texting, then I'm looking at 150 leads. Okay. That's basically the 80-20. But here's the thing. Your metrics may not match up. I spoke with a few of you guys over Facebook, and you guys said, hey, I'm not getting those numbers. And some of you other guys have been like, yeah, I've actually been seeing those numbers. It comes down to your data. So if your data is off, and when I say data, if you're pulling lists from PropStream or you're pulling lists that have been hit up by other people a lot, like pre-foreclosures or code violations, or if you're pulling data or you're not pulling fresh data and you expect to get this, you may be able to do this for a month or two when you're recycling the data, but you really don't want to recycle your data, right? As soon as your data stops performing, as soon as you see that your lead rate is decreasing day after day, and you've been dialing this 10,000 record list for about 3 to 4 weeks, it's time to change it. Guys, don't shoot the messenger here. Some of you guys, and this is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to get really real with you guys. Some of you guys want to cheat the game. You can't cheat the game. You can play by the rules, but you can't cheat the game. The Olympics are going on right now. What if I went there and I wanted to go run and I decided to take steroids and I want to be really juiced up and I was able to smoke everybody on the track? Well, that wouldn't be really fair because it's not a fair competition. I cheated the game. Yeah, I won, but I really didn't win the game. I thought I won, but I didn't. So you guys can appear like you're actually winning in some of these areas, but if you're not getting consistency, that's really the measure of success. I don't care about getting a deal here or there. I don't care if you made $100K on a wholesale deal. I'll tell you right there, I've never made $100K on a wholesale deal. My largest has been 40K or around 15 to 20K. That's what sustains my business. And I know it's predictable. I'm not salivating and getting excited over a lead that comes through that's a fire damaged house and the person just died, or the brother of the owner died yesterday and the owner just fell down the stairs and needs hernia surgery. Right? You guys may get excited about that, but what ends up happening is you end up falling in love with that deal. Let me know if it says I'm connecting here. My electricity tripped here in Charlotte, so I don't know if they're doing service here down the road. But if my connection is spotty, just let me know. But anyway, guys, what I'm telling you guys here is a lot of you guys want to cheat the game, and you want to basically say, well, the rules don't apply for me, or I had success doing this one day, and so because I had success doing this in this market, it's almost like you get caught up in the fantasy of thinking that will work over and over again. And you guys are chasing that initial big high that you had. Well, I made an $80,000 assignment fee. Well, let me do that again. Well, if you're doing novations, maybe. But even that's very, that's a grand slam right there. But for the most part, guys, you're going to have averages, and your averages as far as assignment fees are going to be very lackluster if you're trying to go after that big bag. It's about consistency, guys. It's a snowball effect, right? Snowballs that turn into avalanches. I want to show you guys something here. So you guys have probably heard this before, and I used this analogy a lot a few years ago, but it's a snowball effect. So when we're starting our marketing, we're starting from square one, from zero. Yes, you can go from zero, the small snowball, to a snowflake all the way up to here. But guess what it's going to take? Money, or time. But usually you can't fit in more hours in the day unless you're not working. Even if you're not working 9 to 5 job, you only have so many hours that you can work and be productive outside of sleep. And even if you say, hey, I can work 17 hours a day, you're going to get burned out at some point. So really the X factor and the multiplier is time. So if you want to get this snowball from right here to right here within a few seconds, then you're going to need to put some cash in order to pay the snowman or the snow machine. Let's just say you pay a plane to come down and dump a lot of snow where you're at, so this thing can pick up momentum and get you to here quicker. So a lot of you guys want to jump from here, no leads. In real estate, let's use this analogy. So no leads, no deals, no knowledge in real estate. You haven't put the reps in. You haven't talked to homeowners. You don't know how to deal with objections. And you want to go from here to 5 deals a month in a day. Or you want to go from here to one deal a month in 30 days. And you guys look at me and you're like, well, and this is the thing that annoys me. I'm going to tell you guys this. You guys look at me after you spent your money in all these other crazy places. And then you come to me and say, well, I got, $500. What can I do with that? Hey, the next person I get on the call with and you say that, I'm just going to probably block you. Just being honest here. In this economy, we don't have time for that. I don't have time for that, to be honest. So you need to pay to play. You need to pay to play. But if you don't have the money to pay to play, what you can do, guys, is start with giving your time. And it's going to be a tremendous time commitment. It's going to be a tremendous sacrifice. And I don't know if you guys are up for it. I really don't. I don't know. Call me a boomer, call me old-fashioned. But whenever I first started, I put in that work. And I denied myself pleasure for years. For my first, guys, really, I didn't start drinking and going out and having a good time all the way up until maybe I was 26, 27. I didn't get drunk for the first time, up until I was 27, I think. Up until then, I was focused. I knew I didn't want to be in a 9-to-5 job. I knew I didn't want to be in the Army. I knew I didn't want to go to school to become a lawyer. I knew I didn't want to stay in my job in Fayetteville and work as an intelligence analyst. You can't have both. You can't have pleasure and success at the same time. And see, that's what a lot of people are not understanding here. That's what a lot of people are not understanding when you see social media. You're living through the lens of social media. Guys, I'm on social media for business. When you guys see me posting, even my stories, guys, it's a necessary evil for me. I'm on social media for business. Even if you see me posting something fun or anything like that, you guys, I try to be more authentic with my lifestyle. I'm not over here saying, showing you guys driving my Alfa Romeo out here. I'm not saying, oh man, driving my Alfa and stunting on you guys. I'm not doing that. Right? But I like showing my authentic version of myself, me having a good time, and you guys seeing what the lifestyle is. But at the same time, that does not mean that I'm not putting in that work Monday through Friday. The whole goal of wholesaling, guys, is not to start doing this so you could just not do anything. It's still a job. It's still a business. Newsflash is still a job. Now, here's the thing. Wholesaling, for a lot of you guys, that's actually better than the situation you're in right now. So here's the thing. Whenever I first started, I was working a 9-to-5 job in Fayetteville. Okay. And I left the Army. And after I left the Army as an intelligence analyst, I said, never again. The only way that I can do my job as an intelligence analyst was deploying. And I didn't realize that before I took that job in the military. But, everybody basically is going to deploy if you stay in the military for a term. At least back when I joined in 2012 or 2010 is when I joined. And then once I got out, I got a contracting job. This contracting job was in Fayetteville. And then they told me the same thing I heard in the military. Guess what? You're back in Garrison, which is back home. But really, there's going to be some point, CC, where you're going to probably have to deploy in the next year. If you stay in this job. If you stay in this job for more than 2 years, you're going to have to deploy. Because I was working as an intelligence analyst with the special forces. And so they're always all around the world. And guys, being a contractor is way worse than being a soldier because nobody cares about you when you're a contractor. At least in the military, when you're a soldier, you're looked after. But you could go missing as a contractor. Nobody's going to care about you. Even if you took off your uniform yesterday and you put on your suit jacket the day after, nobody cares about you. And if you got kidnapped, you're on your own. And I just wasn't going to do that. Why am I saying this? Because the fear of pain motivated me to do what I needed to do and make sacrifices to have delayed gratification, to put in the work and deny myself pleasure and gratification to get to that next level. My freedom was worth it. For some of you guys, you have to be real with yourself and say, hey, you know what? This business thing isn't for me. It looks great on social media. Maybe I could be friends with CC or friends with somebody who's an entrepreneur, but this business life, it's either in your DNA or it's not. Okay, guys, we got to separate the wheat from the shaft. I'm telling you guys this because I don't want to see you guys that aren't cut out for entrepreneurship wasting your money trying to do this whole entrepreneurship thing when it's not for you. Okay, so Primus said I'm going in and out. How am I sounding now, guys? How am I sounding now? And that's an old name. I haven't seen you here in a while, Premise. Hope you guys are doing well. But let me know, guys. Let me know if I'm sounding all right now. I don't want to get go on a filibuster here and end up sounding choppy. I think my connection is good now. But with all that being said, guys, it's Sunday, and I want to give you guys a little bit more mindset here. And I come across a little bit too understanding, and I'm understanding. I'm a patient person. I am, but also too, guys, I put in that work. And I'm not tooting my own horn or anything like that, but I see a lot of you guys have excuses. And as a man, I saw my dad work. I saw my granddad work until the day he died. Right? I saw my dad work. When I was 7, 8 years old, out of the door at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. Didn't get back home until midnight. Right? Creating a better life for his family. Guys, it's in me. I started working at age 12. Nobody had to tell me to go out there and get a lawnmower and start cutting people's grass. I was making $300 a week at age 13. I bought my own riding lawnmower at age 14. I was working at Wendy's full time and had my own lawn business. I was making about $500 to $600 a week. I went to Lipscomb University, my first college, and paid for half my first year there. And I only had to get half a year on scholarship, and really not even half on scholarship because I got some financial assistance, and I was able to pay for my dorm room and all that. Guys, it's either in you or it's not here. You guys, and here's the thing, and let me get to this chart here. What you guys think is you have a high budget because I have a high budget. I can spend the money, and that's going to generate income for me. Okay, you think you can just put $1 in, and then you can get money out of this thing. And I'll be honest, guys, I've tried this with some people. And it really hasn't worked out well because at some point they're going to need to take over the business. And I've gotten people deals where I've said, hey, man, like I'll run the business for you. I'll hire your employees. But at some point, the whole goal is to teach the men and women I work with how to fish so they can take over the business. But once they get used to Cece running the business, and then I try to hand it off to them, it came so easy to them. They didn't learn anything the last 3 or 4 months. And then they were like, well, I'll just shut it down. So right now, what I'm doing is, hey, I'm just doing people's marketing for them. And you guys focus on doing the other parts of the business as far as closing the deals. Nothing is actually going to bypass your ability and your knowledge with learning this business. Guys, if I'm a personal trainer and you come to me and you say, hey, I want to learn how to do diamond push-ups. I want to learn how to do 100 pull-ups in a row. You can watch me do 1,000 pull-ups until I'm blue. If you don't get up there and try to do one pull-up yourself or one push-up yourself, it doesn't matter how much you pay me as a personal trainer. Guys, you have to get on the phone, get yelled at by homeowners, get talked down to, get hung up on. A lot of you guys are scared of that. A lot of you guys are concerned about, well, what do I say on the phone? And I try to help you guys here. And but now, guys, the wheat's got to get separated from the chaff. You guys really have to realize whether or not I'm cut out for this real estate thing or not. And you got to realize it's not an ATM machine. To go back to what I was saying before, with my job analogy, the best move for me was to put all into real estate, because I knew that if I had to deploy, the only way to get out of deployment as an intelligence analyst was to reclass out into another job. Signal intelligence, which you're basically hacking people's phones. Geospatial intelligence analyst, which is you're essentially looking at analyzing terrain. Our human intelligence, basically being like a special agent investigator. But even then, you probably would have to deploy with that. Maybe not SIGINT. You could do a lot of that stuff at home, but it didn't matter. Any one of those intelligence fields I reclassed in, I would have had to probably basically deploy at some point. So I said, you're a smart guy, CC. At least I thought I was at the time. I said, well, if I'm going to learn anything over again to get out of my job, I might as well learn something I want to do and own my own time. So I worked my 9-to-5 job from 8 a.m. I went in. I was able to get off around 4 o'clock. Went back home around 4:30. Took a nap for about 2 hours. Woke up at 6:30. got some food from 6:30 to 8:30, and then I was on Bigger Pockets from 8:30 all the way to 1 a.m. Day after day after day, all of 2015. No lies detected here, guys. No lies detected here. It doesn't matter how hard you're working at your current business, or excuse me, in your current career field, or even if you have another business. The moment you stop working in that other business or you come back from your job, none of that translates over to your real estate business. The clock starts again. So it may be uncomfortable for a year. So if you guys have a full-time job and you have no budget, guys, it's going to be very difficult on you. It's going to be very difficult on you, right? You may have to sacrifice it. Guys, I'm not saying if it's impossible. I'm just being realistic with you. I don't want you guys to waste your money. I hope I can be real with you on a Sunday here. I don't want you wasting your money. I don't want you thinking, okay, I can do this real estate thing and being caught up in the hype. There's a lot of hype out there. And I don't preach the hype. I'm being real. It's going to take you a lot of effort and consistency and focus in order to get a deal with no budget. None. With none. Even with a low budget, you're going to have to put in some money. So I'm talking about $100 right here. Let's just say like 0 to 100. And then the low budget, let's just say under 500. Guys, whenever I was working as a marketing director with a company here in Charlotte, we were spending just $4,000 just on dialers. So right there, this will maybe only cover your software that you need. Maybe software and maybe your credits, but definitely you could get a list pool that will actually just eat that up. Now, I'll show you guys here what I would actually spend my money on a little bit later here in the call. Excuse me. One thing about me, guys, is I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time, if you guys know that analogy. So when I'm thinking about something, I find it difficult to type. But what I'll actually share with you guys are essentially how to spend your marketing dollars. So not all hope is lost. I'm just setting the stage and telling you guys just be realistic. So what I did, what I found out is that, hey, I'll put in the work. I'll do this wholesaling thing. I'll learn. I drove down to Charleston from Fayetteville, 3-hour drive every other week with my dog, packed my dog Bailey up in the car, my Honda CRV, and we left Fayetteville around 9 o'clock at night. And then I would on Fridays, and then I would get home around midnight. I was staying at my parents' place in Somerville back then. And then I would get up on Saturday and drive for dollars with my business partner. In Somerville or in Charleston in general, there weren't a lot of houses, not a lot of neighborhoods to drive for dollars. So I thought I was doing something by having like 10 addresses. And then we used this company called Microbuilt, which was horrible with phone numbers. The phone numbers sucked and the addresses were spotty, but we were able to find some addresses, and we would write letters I would write the letters on Sunday when I got back home, because I drove back home on Sunday at like 6 o'clock, get back home at 9, write the yellow letters, and then send off like 5 or 10 yellow letters. I did that for like 6 months. I didn't get any calls back. None. Not one call back. I probably sent off maybe 100 yellow letters. So here's the thing, guys. I don't want you guys mistaking the time that you're putting in with actual productive effort. And I'm going to make a note here. We do not want to mistake time, input it, or our unproductive, let's just do time, input it with productive effort. What do I mean by that? Well, CC, I cold called, 20 people, and it took me 8 hours. Okay. You have to do that every day. Just like Grant Cardone said, you got to 10x it, guys. If you're not getting the results, you got to 10x it. Or here's another one that people say. Well, I went to the courthouse, and it took me a whole month to get 30 probate records. Okay, what do you want? Did you mail them yet? And that's not even enough to convert. So here's the thing, guys. A lot of you guys want to put in the want to pat yourself on the back with vanity metrics, guys. That if you're working 9 to 5, I need you guys to understand something. You have to be able to put on your entrepreneurship hat and say, you know what, this isn't a 9 to 5 job. You're having to do everything in the business to make it stay afloat and run it. Whenever you go into your 9 to 5 job, do you ever question if the lights are on? Do you ever question if the internet's going to work? Do you not even question that? Do you even know who's paying the internet provider? Do you even know who your internet provider is at your job? Do you know the types of light bulbs that are needed in your lighting system? Are they fluorescent? Right? Are they 120 watts? Do you know these things? Do you know who the manufacturer is, where you get who you have to go to whenever there's a computer issue outside of you work in IT? Guys, these are all things you have to realize whenever you are an investor, whenever you own your own business. And here's the thing, guys, I'm talking to you guys that are veterans as well, because this is something I had to learn. Even if you get to 5 deals a month, and I've seen it, I'm not going to drop any names, but I've seen some prominent people in this industry that I work. Guys, I'm your guru's guru. Okay. People come to me when they actually need stuff done, marketing, support, problem solved. I'm your guru's guru. Okay. I'm not into all the hype here, but I've seen people that have closed 5, 10 deals a month consistently. Well, maybe not consistently, maybe spotty on and off. They know what they're doing. They've closed probably more than 30 deals in their real estate career. And they don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to manage employees. They don't know how to hire employees. They don't know how to rotate their lists. They don't know how to vet people to make sure that they're bringing people on to be mindful of their blind spots, and they're compensating for their blind spots. They don't even know what their blind spots are. They don't even know what their weaknesses are. They don't even know how to put names and specific language to their strengths. Oh, I'm a visionary because you read what? Traction? You're a visionary? You read Traction? Chapter 4? Yeah, I've read that book multiple times. It's a great book. But how does that translate into real estate? Oh, I'm an integrator, or I need an integrator. Okay, how do you hire for an integrator? Guys, just because you know how to do deals doesn't mean you know how to run a business. Guys, this is why I rebranded my name from CC Garland Marketing to Build to Scale Real Estate, because this is really what investors need. If you guys hear marketing, processes, consulting, right? They need to be able to understand how to do marketing. That's the foundation of what we're talking about right now. I'm going to get to the budget here in a moment, but just stick with me. And then you need to be able to turn that marketing into a process. But see, unless you have somebody who's been there before and spent millions of dollars literally on my own budget, client budgets, JV partners budgets. At one point, I was managing $50,000 just for one company in marketing expenses, direct mail, cold calling, voicemail broadcast, text messaging. We're sending about 10,000 messages a day. Guys, we were doing the thing. Over 100 deals closed with that one company. And there was another company in Burlington I was working with, and we were we were targeting more of like creative financing properties, Airbnbs, mobile homes. So unless you know how to do this yourself, you have to go to somebody who's been there before. And a lot of you guys just want to go and have all this, start with all these assumptions or piece things together through YouTube. You want to go in and just say, well, maybe I can pull a list of absentee high equity owners and save money by getting a 3-cent skip tracing. Okay, yeah, you can do that. You can do that. But again, let me show you guys here. Every part of this funnel matters. Let's just say you pull a 10,000 record list and you're using a skip tracing company. I'm going to just tell you guys, you're using that 3-cent a record skip tracing company. I'm going to show you guys my calculator here. Okay, let's just say you're able to get 3 cents skip tracing. Great. $300. Awesome for skip tracing. But you know what, guys? Those numbers are going to be outdated. I'm going to tell you the issues you're going to encounter. They're not only going to be outdated, but you're going to get probably like a 70% hit rate. So let's just say you have a very nice list, code violation stacked with absentee out of state. Amazing. Well, you already shaved 3,000 quality records off the top. So somebody like me, who has a better data source, who spends a little bit more, is going to be able to get in touch with those 3,000 records. And those 3,000 records may be the only ones that truly have any motivation on the list, on that list that convert, while everybody else is targeting using that 3 cents a record data set, skip tracing. You guys are all competing against the same records because you're all getting the same data here. Okay. And then, you know, those are your hit rates, 70% hit rates. And then let's just say you're not going to have 10% incompatible numbers and DNC numbers. You might have another 20% wrong numbers. So let's do 7,000 minus 1,400. You're going to have and when you upload it, instead of 8,900 records for marketing, you're going to have 5,600 records for marketing. And guys, guess what? Your lead rate is going to be, for cold calling, 28. You're going to get 28 leads in a month. And for texting, you'll get times 2, 56. When I'm getting 100 leads for texting and 50 for cold calling, you're getting 56 for texting and then 28 for cold calling. You see, guys, this is a funnel. So if you start with bad data up here, then your funnel is going to be thinner. You want your funnel wide, but you want to start with quality data up front. Guys, this is the thing. You guys are just looking for the silver bullet. Well, Cece, maybe have you heard about this AI tool? Or have you heard about this new skip tracing company? Have you seen this CRM? Have you checked out this virtual assistant company? Have you looked at this script? Guys, the foundation of the business has not changed at all. Fundamentals. And this is why, guys, this is why I'm boring to some people. I'm not flashy. I'm not telling you guys what you want to hear. I'm telling you what you need to hear. I love this stuff. I'm passionate about this. This is my bread and butter here. This is why you're hearing this in my voice, guys. And the amazing thing is I don't change any of these variables that work. My skip tracing, my list pulling, my CRMs, my dialers. So what I can do is I can actually now focus on that icing on the cake. Okay, now since I know my foundation is great and I'm generating these benchmarks consistently, okay, maybe now I can look at my script and tweak my script a little bit. What a lot of you guys want to do is start tweaking things that are top of the pyramid before you focus on the foundation. Okay, you want to start tweaking the text. You know, maybe I need to start sending off do spin text. Well, maybe I need to change my message. Well, maybe I need to change my cold calling company. Well, maybe I need to go from Nicaraguan cold callers to Filipinos. Maybe I need American cold callers. And you're not even focused on the foundation. And what happens, guys, is a lot of you guys don't realize what to attribute, what you need to attribute, where the cause and root cause of a lot of your frustrations are. And you're attributing issues to the wrong source because it's convenient. And honestly, listen, it's a lot easier if you're unaware of your own emotional regulation. And on top of that, if you're cash strapped as well, to attribute it to something other than the nearest target, a person. Oh, I use that cold calling company. They suck. They didn't generate me any leads. Well, did they pull the list for you? No, I gave them a list. What did the list look like? Okay, well, it was a list I pulled back in January. All right, well, where do you get those phone numbers from? Okay, I got them from DataZap. 3 cents records. Okay, what list were you targeting? Yeah, absentee high equity. Everybody's targeting that list. Tire landlords. Everybody's targeting that list. Okay. What dialer were you using? Well, I was using ZenCall. And I was eating up my data. Or, you know, the company I was using ZenCall. All right, you hired a VA. Well, how much do you pay the VA? $3 an hour. Well, CC, I don't know why my VA is not showing up on time. They suck. Where are you paying them? $3 an hour? I don't know why they're working another job. What are you paying them? $3 an hour? Do you have an onboarding training for your VAs? Do you have Slack support for your VAs? Guys, all these things attribute to you having success. This is a business, not a hustle. This is a business. I treat it like a business. Okay? Let me see if I got any questions here. All right, guys. Yeah. Guys, I have to. I'm getting on my filibuster today. I love this part of the business. I love telling you guys and getting you guys on point so you know what the information, not the information, excuse me. You know what the truth is. And so if anything I'm saying sounds contrary to what you're hearing from popular sources, most likely this is the correct information, guys. So let's get back to it. Let me know if you guys have any questions, guys. Just getting started here. So I'm going to go back to my chart, and now I'm going to start talking about the different budgets that we can expect based off of, different budgets that we have based off of our goals we're trying to reach. So I'm going to start with one deal, and then I'm going to show you guys how you would increase from there. So I just had to set the stage. What knowledge do you need? What team do you need? What budget? So we'll talk about the team in a moment, and we touched on the knowledge part. I'll interweave that here in this training, but we'll also talk about the budget. That's why you guys are here, okay? So if I want to get one deal a month, let's just go ahead and talk about it. You have to understand, guys, if you're starting from zero, meaning you're just starting from a cold start, no momentum, there's going to be a timeline it takes to close your first deal. And this is where a lot of people that work with me, whenever I build out their wholesale businesses, they get discouraged because they're like, oh man, I thought we were going to close a deal in 3 months. And, that happened with one client of mine, unfortunately, where we had a deal, we were going to make 15 grand on it, and the seller backed out. Like literally, we needed maybe like one more week to get that thing closed. But I had like 2 other contracts that we were working. And listen, I just need another month to close those. And so once I close that one, we'll see if he wants to start back up. But listen, since we pause the marketing, it's going to be like we're starting and resetting the clock all over again, even if we have leads in our CRM. So as difficult as it is, guys, you have to understand what that timeline is and be realistic about where you're at right now. If you have no budget, guys, you're going to be looking at a 120-day at a minimum sales cycle. Meaning if you generate a lead today, it's going to take you 120 days to close. Guys, and this could be contributed to a lot of factors. If you've been in the game for a little bit, if you are just starting, it's going to be 120 days. There's going to be something that happens. You don't have your processes created yet. Even if you've closed a deal before. If you're with no budget at all, I don't care, guys. You're going to spend a lot of time trying to generate leads. Now, if you have some type of budget, let's just say $500 to $1,000. I'm going to say $500 to $1,000 here. So I consider that like a low budget. It'll probably take you 90 days. And for this one right here, I would spend my money on a list, very targeted list with high hit rates and low wrong number rates. And then I also would spend money on my like a dialer, right? Just REI reply, maybe. You don't need call rail. That's too expensive. Or Google Voice, guys. Okay. And I would manually dial. The list. Or if you could swing it, text blast and REI reply. Guys, you're going to be the one that has to set up REI reply. You're going to have to be the one that manually dials this list. You're going to be the one that has to manually cold call these people one by one, or a dialer. So if you have the budget, you get a dialer if it's closer to like 1,000, but your data might eat up most of it. What I would probably do is I'll do single line dialer here or triple line dialer. What I would probably do here, the priority is your list. So if you really have a low budget, I would focus more on spending more money on your list, a high quality list, and then you are putting in that work, that sweat equity to call those homeowners. That's what I would do. When I first started, the only option was to direct mail. So I spent, guys, there was no option under $3,000 whenever I first started. To go back to my story, once my business partner and I realized, well, man, it's taken quite a bit to get a deal under contract. Nobody was responding back to our direct mail that we sent off, my letters that I wrote. And see, I spent probably maybe like 4 hours writing the letters, packaging them, and then sending them off on my lunch break during the week to those homeowners. And I was so excited. I was waiting for my Google Voice number to ring, and nobody ever rang it back. So I had to say 6-7 months down the road, hey, my guy, Ethan, we have to go in a different direction. So we put up like 1,500 each. I think I put up maybe like most of it, two grand on my end, and maybe he put up 1,000 because I was making a little bit more at my job than him. And then we paid for a direct mail campaign. Guys, I obsessed over putting that direct mail campaign over. I had probably 100 tabs open up on Bigger Pockets trying to figure out the best list to pull. And I was very methodical with the list that I pulled, and I didn't want to make any mistakes. I went on List Source. I pulled an absentee, high equity list, and then I did yellow letters. So I went on yellowletters.com, Michael Quarles' company, and then we ordered the yellow letters, and that was expensive, and it stung, guys. It stung. And we sent off the yellow letters, and guess what, guys? We got one very motivated homeowner out of that. But it wouldn't have made sense to do anything less than, I think we sent off maybe like 6,000 letters with the response rates that we were getting at the time, maybe 3,000, maybe 3,000, I think. Based off the metrics that I had, I knew I had to spend at least $3,000 on that campaign in order for it to make sense. So why am I saying that, guys? To give you guys context, is you guys have it easy. We didn't have access to phone numbers. You know how much it costs to skip trace one phone number? You know, somebody could chime in if you guys know this one. Somebody could chime in. But guys, it costs $10 for one phone number. Well, we would get to skip trace one seller, and we would get multiple phone numbers through findaseller.com. We didn't have bulk skip tracing. We didn't have batch skip tracing. Guys, there was no such thing as cold calling. Yeah, you could cold call and you could pick up the phone book, and then you could go line by line and dial people and just see if they had a home for sale. That's actually what Michael Quarles suggested in his coaching program. So guys, I want you guys to really understand that things have gotten really easy, and it's not difficult these days to be successful in this industry. Because guys, there's so many people that are just lazy these days, are not just lazy. The work ethic has gone to the wayside, and there's a lot of dopamine distractions. There's a lot of different traps in here to distract you. There's a lot of different distractions, guys. You got to be focused. You guys got to go on monk mode. My men listening, my women listening, you know, my men, hey, practice some semen retention. My men listening, stay away from low vibrational music, right? Yes, I listen to rap whenever I was getting started, but I only listen to hustle rap like Larry June, Currency, anything like that. Any trap I didn't really listen to. Lil Baby, I listened to that. Stay away from low vibrational people. Stay away from alcohol. Stay away from anything that's going to cause you to decrease your focus on this journey. Have delayed gratification where it becomes a lifestyle. Guys, I didn't start chilling out really. I took a mini sabbatical last year, and I just like let my hair grow out and was just like woosah. But before then, guys, every single day I had at least 20 appointments or reminders on my calendar on things to do. I was going hard, very, very hard. And I'm back on it now. I needed to take a little break to focus on my mental and physical health, but I'm back on it now, guys. I'm ready for another 7 years to do some things outside of wholesaling, still in real estate. Start flipping some properties, start developing sites, lots. I know a lot of things now that wholesaling taught me, and I'm able to now just pick and choose what my exit strategies are. Don't want to digress too much here, guys, but all this with proper context is why I'm saying this. So if you have a very low budget, guys, I would focus on getting a list for sure, spending your money on a list, using Google Voice to dial. That's all you should be doing. No cold callers, no VAs, no hiring an admin assistant. Guys, suck it up. Learn how to Google certain things. Learn how to use Excel. You can use Fiverr here or there for certain things, but your budget's going to go really quickly. We want to make sure that we're using that money on a list pool. Okay. Now let's talk about mid-size budget. I would say a mid-size budget is anywhere between probably like $2,000. I know I'm skipping intervals here, but $2,000 to maybe like $5,000. Okay, this is where a lot of people that come to me are operating in, but they definitely need to make that budget work. And this is why I like working with people in this area. And this is why I'm so glad when people come to me, they have this type of budget, because guess what? I know I can work with that. I can help you out with this budget. I can't help you out here, guys. You could join my lives, go on my YouTube channel. I have over 60 videos on my YouTube channel, guys. And I give away the sauce, but you're going to have to go through this and spend the time reading these things, learning a lot of the things that I can do for you in the marketing space yourself. You're going to have to learn how to update your dialer. You're going to have to sit there on the line with support, with talking to a Filipino and repeating the same thing over and over to 4 people until you get to the right person. That's what it takes, guys, if you have less money than time, if you have more time than money. Some of you guys don't want to put in the time or money. Guys, there's nowhere for you here. I'm sorry, there's nothing for you here on this end, okay? But with a mid-sized budget, and even my veterans watching now, this is for you. I'm all about maximizing those marketing dollars. What would I do with you guys? If you guys are starting from square zero, no leads, or let's just say you guys are doing the solopreneur thing where you close $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 worth of deals, and now you have no leads that came in the last several months. Guys, you're basically a beginner at that point. You're a beginner at that point, and you need to look at it like this. It's going to take me another 45 days to get a deal closed. Now, since you know what you're doing, you know how to close some deals up, you're good on the phone, you're a great acquisition specialist, it will probably take you maybe like 2 weeks to contract a deal, and then another 30 days to get that thing closed. So we're looking at a 45-day timeline. But the thing is, guys, if you keep the snowball up and you don't say, well, I'm going to wait until these deals close to reinvest back in your business, you won't have this problem. Too many people, guys, I see this happening. And what happens is they oftentimes take the money that they made and then they don't go back and do the thing that works. For some reason, they go back and they're like, well, maybe I can start doing PPC or radio ads or build an SEO website. What got you the deal in the first place? Okay, cold calling. Okay, maybe you were the one cold calling. Okay, hire somebody to do that. Don't go and do something different that didn't get you results. Okay, guys, it's very important. I'm a testament of this too now, guys. So listen, I made sacrifices. I've been focusing on my business and my clients for the last really 5 months, 6 months, and I've been spotty with my communication online. So guess what? My client lead flow is dry. I'm not sitting here complaining and saying, well, I'm not having any clients. I'm knocking down my door, this and that. I'm like, hey, no, I just communicate with my audience and tell them what I have here. I'm glad I kept it low for a while too, because I was really trying to figure out, how to maximize my marketing budget. I need to work on just some of my processes. And now we're doing texting and things are going well for myself and my clients. But with that being said, guys, with you guys, when it comes to wholesaling, guys, you're looking at 45 days with a mid-sized budget. Now, what would I spend money on? What would I spend my marketing dollars on? Very important, because when you have this type of budget, you may be a little bit loose with it. And guys, we have to be just as sharp with our budget, even if we had $100,000 in the bank, as we do with no budget. And some people, whenever they work with me, they may think I'm nitpicking on the people I hire or just the processes, or I'm counting all these pennies. But guys, I know your marketing budget could go really quickly, and we don't want any redundancies. I can't stand redundancies in my company, right? Having 2 cold callers dialing the same list, or having, 2 acquisitions managers and they're both using the same script, and, there's nobody underwriting the deals. I can't stand that. That's inefficient. So what I would focus on with you is pulling a 10,000 record list, hiring a cold caller or texting specialist. Okay, texting 500 records per day, or dialing 800 to 1,100 records per day. So this will yield, and it's just one of these two, because your budget isn't really going to fit for doing both of these. So I would do, in my preference, I would text first, right? And so you'll get about, so with 10,000 records, I said it yesterday, you'll get about 100 leads in and 50% connection rate, or qualified leads. So when I say a lead, guys, with texting, I mean somebody who responded back to our text message favorably. They said a price that was reasonable. I sent off the message saying, hey, I'm CC with Garland Home Buyers. I'm interested in purchasing your home at X, Y, and Z. That's not my message, but just go with me. And then they respond back and say 80K, 320K, 40K, 100K, not like $1 million or $3 million. Or they say, even if they say if the price is right, I'm fine with that. But if they say something sarcastic like, 500K non-negotiable and close tomorrow, that's not a lead. So we have to use some common sense here. And I would hire a texting specialist for this. So hire one of the above. So it's either texting specialist or cold caller. That's what I would do. Because now, guys, you're able to leverage your dollars. So anytime you're working in your business, anytime you have money to spend on your business, you should spend it on marketing. It doesn't matter how great of an acquisitions team you have. It doesn't matter how great of a lawyer you have. It doesn't matter how great your CRM is. If you spend $1,000, $3,000 building this super great CRM, if you have nothing coming inside the funnel, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. Okay. And to go to this level, to these two fields here I didn't talk about yet, I think this is a good time to introduce this, is you got to realize when you get to this level where you're able to start spending that budget, not only is it going to decrease your lead into closure rate, it's going to decrease that life cycle, which is a good thing. But you're also going to be able to outsource a lot of these low-level tasks. So your time commitment with these low-level tasks is, you don't have to spend time doing $5 to $100 hour tasks. You don't have to spend a lot of time troubleshooting dialers or using Excel or comping out properties or learning these tools. If you hire somebody yourself, like a Filipino online or from onlinejobs.com, .ph, you may have to teach them these things. Or you can use an agency like myself. We do lead generation campaigns where we do all this stuff. So, and you don't have to worry about that. And I think that's a temporary solution. I don't think it's a long-term solution to use an agency. I think you really should know how to do a lot of these things yourself, okay, at some point. But if you're working a 9-to-5 job, this is the hack right here. This is basically what I did back in 2015 when I did that direct mail campaign, right? I could have sat there and wrote 3,000 mail pieces out. Oh my gosh. How much time would that have taken me? Months. My hand probably would have fallen off by then. I probably would have gotten carpal tunnel. So, that's darn near impossible. So you may say, well, can't you hire somebody to write those yellow letters for you? Yeah, but that's the same thing as you spending money. And I just did, at the time I had the money, so I just paid a mail house to do it for me, to write the little yellow letters for me, okay? But see, here's the thing. With the mid-size budget, you're still going to be focusing on the higher level like task, meaning 1,000, 2,000, 3, all the way up to 10,000 hour tasks, meaning vetting your buyers, underwriting deals, coordinating closings, because you're getting the front end of the process off your plate, okay? And I want to show you guys something here. You guys have probably seen this here over and over again. It's called my wholesaling timeline. And I'm going to just show you guys here. So the wholesaling timeline is, there's really 3 departments in your wholesaling company. Wholesaling really is 3 business models in one, which is why there's some companies that just do dispo. New Western. So it's like 3 to 4 business models in one. New Western just does dispo. A lot of you guys, I would say my extrovert and my extrovert intuitives, ESFJs, ENFJs, ENTPs, ESTJs. You guys are great at acquisitions, but you are not great at the marketing piece here. Anything with the details and the organization, right? My blind spot, and it took me 1,000 reps on the calls, these cold calls, to start learning how to do this. Is I wasn't natural at acquisitions. I was scared to death whenever I first started calling homeowners. I remember there was one weekend my business partner said, hey, we got to get in the office on a Sunday and we have to cold call. And up until that point, I was able to really get out of it. But he was like, hey, we have to cold call. Man, I was shaking. You want to talk about a man that went to deployed with the Taliban? I would have gone back to Afghanistan at that point. I was terrified because for me, I needed to have confidence in what I was saying to the homeowners. I at that point, like 2016, I wasn't really sure of the entire wholesaling process. So guess what? I was shaking in my boots. And I dropped the phone, act like the phone disconnected several times while I was talking to homeowners. And I couldn't stand it. But I learned, and it wasn't natural for me. So for me, it made more sense once I started to branch off on my own to partner with people that were great at acquisitions, and I did the marketing. So guys, there's multiple ways you can fit in here in real estate, but you got to realize if you're trying to scale, you don't have to do everything yourself. But to wrap up this point is the marketing piece is really, that's a separate business model. Acquisitions, so lead follow-up, lead vetting, and acquisitions, that's another business model in wholesaling. And then dispo and transaction coordination, that's another one. So imagine if you're trying to do all this stuff at once. You're trying to do all of this stuff yourself. And man, I think my connection went out. No. Let me know if my connection went out, guys. You guys still got me here? I do not know what's going on here today. Just give me a thumbs up if I'm still here with you. You guys still got me? Check my audio. Okay, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, so things were looking buggy. So my apologies, guys. We'll roll with the punches. Hey, being an entrepreneur, you got to be flexible. So what I was saying here, guys, to wrap up that point is whenever I was first cold calling, I was not good at it at all. And I naturally gravitated towards marketing. But that's the thing, guys, understanding your weaknesses is really important. And just yielding and saying, you know what, maybe I need to bring in a JV partner. But knowing that JV partner is going to contribute positively to your success. You guys are going to be yin and yang. You don't want two people that are great at acquisitions, but don't know how to do the marketing part. You guys don't care about the marketing at all, right? You guys don't care about learning how to use spreadsheets or even learning the education. I'll tell you what really worked well with my business partner and I is it was amazing. I was great at the marketing part. I loved the behind the scenes part of it, and I was great at educating. So what I did was I learned everything I needed to know about wholesaling, about marketing, and then basically when I met my business partner, because I worked in my job in Fayetteville for a year, but after work I would call him, and then when we got home, I would basically do a data dump and just say, hey, this is how we put together this transaction. This is what you need to say to the homeowner on the phone. And then on my off weeks, when I wasn't going back home to Charleston, I was in the Fayetteville RIA with my mentor, and I was just absorbing all the information. It was amazing. And so while my business partner was at home, hitting the pavement or calling homeowners from our direct mail campaigns, I was basically taking the information that I was getting from everything that I researched, because I love learning, and just telling him, hey, this is what you need to do. And he was like, okay, bet. This is what I do. And he would come back to me, say if it was successful or not. And most often not, it was successful. Man, I would not be here today if I did not have that guy. I would not. I'm telling you guys. And really just for the motivational aspect as well, just having a business partner with you, it helps. But here's the thing. It would not have worked out. And, by the grace of God, it just did. But it would not have worked out if we were both great at acquisitions and we didn't want to do with the marketing part. Or we were both great at marketing. We were both introverts and we didn't want to talk to homeowners. So, understanding, guys, take a 16 personalities test. I love 16 personalities. Figure out who you are. And that's just going to really help you understand what you need to hand off. Okay. So I know I'm getting a little bit metaphysical here today, but I hope you guys are just rolling with me on this Sunday. We'll go about for 30 to 45 more minutes. If you guys have any questions in the comments, go ahead and drop them and I'll get to you guys. Okay. All right. Excuse me. So if I were you to recap this, I would pull a 10,000 record list. And then hiring a cold caller or a texting specialist. So I already put this here. So one or the other, texting 500 records a day. And let me just go back to this, guys. You may say, well, I can hire both. And I can actually save on skip tracing if I do 3 cent skip tracing. Okay, you could do that, but the KPIs I'm sharing with you are not going to pan out. They're not. That funnel is not going to work. You might have to do twice as much, which will then put you back right here at this budget. So garbage in, garbage out. So you may say, well, I can hire a $3 an hour texting specialist, or maybe I can get this person to work part-time for me. It's just, guys, you try to cheat the game, you're going to get cheated results. Some of you guys may wonder, well, why did that buyer snake that deal from me? And listen, you may have done everything right in the transaction, but just karmically, because you tried to cheat the game, that came back and bit you in the butt. And to be honest, this marketing part may have no physical or tangible direct results on your buyers screwing you over. But I just noticed, guys, just doing this for a while, if you try to cheat things, they end up coming to bite you in different areas. I don't know, guys. I mean, listen, I may be getting a little bit too woo-woo on you, but I just feel like there's a equal energy exchange that's needed to put in to get the results out. I feel like I closed my first deal after spending that $3,000, and I wouldn't have been able to close my first deal, guys, if I didn't go through 6 months of trials of trying to drive for dollars, writing these yellow letters. And then it was just like, I prayed before I sent the hit pay to buy all those yellow letters. And I was like, oh God, please, if this doesn't work, I don't get a deal from this. I mean, really, I could have scrounged up some more money to do the direct mail campaign, but I was basically burnt out because I was in real estate day after day learning this stuff. And it almost became like this, what's the word here? Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the word, but it almost became this myth, this proverbial goal that I was never able to obtain, because I was just like, man, I'm seeing all these people have this success. Maybe this thing is a scam. Maybe this isn't going to work. And when we put that direct mail campaign out and then we got our first deal and we closed, guys, there's only been one other time in my life that I felt like I was on cloud nine. I felt like I was on cloud nine floating when we closed that deal, because I made my entire salary, actually $500 more than my entire monthly salary from working a 9-to-5 job in a month. And my business partner quit like the day after his job, but I stayed for a little bit longer so I could fund the business. And ever since then, I've been hooked. Ever since then, I've been hooked, guys. And I love real estate because of that. So I want you guys to understand there's so much more that you learn in this real estate journey. There's so much more than just making money. I wouldn't be I still have ways to go, but I wouldn't be as mature as I am now and have as good of practical habits and healthy habits that I do now, and great mindset habits if it wasn't for my business. Like my personal development has skyrocketed since I've been in real estate. My paradigm has shifted. How I'm able to deal with challenges in life. Things that used to, rattle me, or things I see that rattle my peers don't rattle me as much. So, it's not just about the money. It's about the mindset shifts that you learn. And a lot of people, again, want to just, even if you have a high budget here, they want to pay the money and then they just expect the results to come. And I've had people, guys, that have paid money on VAs and all that stuff, and then they still come to pay my consultation fee to learn the actual fundamentals of the business. Check that out. They have a business running on autopilot, and they want to learn how to actually run the business, and they want to learn these fundamentals I'm teaching them. So yeah, it's almost like it's almost like you have to go through the trial by fire in order to get to the success. You can't cheat the game here. Okay. So that's what I would pay for in the mid budget. A lot of you guys are right here. And if you guys stick with me, I'm going to tell you guys how I can help you out with this too as well. But let's talk about this high budget. Now, this is a very select few of people in this high budget range here. Okay. And I'm going to be honest. You're going to be looking at probably 7 deals a month in this range here. And these low-level technical skills are going to be outsourced to an employee, meaning operations manager. You're going to have an ops manager. You're going to have cold callers. Let me actually bring up my organizational chart here so you guys can see what I mean. In any sort of company that I work with, where I actually do team build outs, or they want to actually start moving from this mid-sized budget to this high budget, the first thing we get off their plate are any tasks underneath $1,000. You guys should be talking to buyers if you're at this level, talking to buyers, going to networking events, focusing on live education events, and then learning how to train and manage your team. That's where the personal development part comes through. A lot of you guys know how to close deals, but this is really where you start learning to become a business owner. So let me see if I could go find this organizational chart just to put this in context for you guys. I have it somewhere here. I'm looking at my Canva, and my Canva has so many things here. Let me actually look at my. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them, and I'll get to them as well. Or if you guys like hearing me talk, totally cool with that. But I love you guys' feedback as well. That's the thing about freestyling too. Sometimes I don't have my documents readily available. Organizational chart, hierarchy. Oh, great. Here it is. Sweet. So some of you guys have probably seen this right here, and I'm just going to briefly go over this. So when you get to the higher budget, what we're doing right here is we are focused on creating your company and building your company as if it's a Fortune 500 company. And my friends, this is where a lot of business owners, we fight a little bit, not physically fight or, anything like that. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but, we fight on some of these things because I have to tell them, you have to start letting your team fail. You have to start understanding that just because your team is doing the job that you hired them for, you may be paying them a lot according to you. You may be paying your operations manager $12 an hour. And you may get to the point and be like, you know what? I don't know why I'm telling that operations manager X, Y, and Z. Man, I don't know why I'm telling my lead manager this. I have to repeat myself over and over again. Guys, welcome to the Business Owner Club. There are acceptable bottom limits that we accept, like acceptable, like no kidding. Hey, unacceptable standards, right? Like, so are you showing up on time? If you can't show up on time, if you're not communicating with me through Slack or DM immediately, and after I tell you once, man, you don't have any place in my company. I don't know if you're working another job or if you're sleeping on the shift, but during the first month of somebody working with me, guys, I'm only looking to see if they're able to show up and do the 3 tasks that I gave them. A lot of you guys want to start hiring people, and guess what? Start throwing everything at them. So you can run off to Jamaica and hang out and, go, how low can you go? And then just give it to your $12 VA to do. Guys, that's not how you build a business. I'm sorry, guys. And what I may be telling you guys may be difficult to hear and may take some of the wind out of your sails, but I'm just being real here. And you really only have to focus on doing this maybe like a year, solid year, and then you're going to be able to take a lot of these low-level tasks off for yourself. And then I would say the last thing that you will hand off is probably dispositions. But even in some of the larger companies that I've worked with, the owners are still heavily in dispositions. So the owner, what your job is, you should be conducting daily calls with your team to put out fires or to address issues that they have. Okay. Like for me, I have a weekly call with all my cold callers, all in one call. And we listen, we pick some random calls, recordings, and I audit them. Right. Or I have a topic that I discuss, just like with you guys. I have a topic or theme that I may discuss. It may be centered around real estate. It may not. It may tie back to real estate, but it may be something a little bit more mindset wise, because I may feel like, okay, we didn't close any deals, lead flow's low, they need a little bit of pick me up. Okay, it's understanding that and being able to read the room there. My operations manager, guys, right? So this is a type of person that's going to be, right next to you. I am in communication with my ops manager every single hour of every day. Really, my ops manager is the one who communicates with everybody else. So this is the difficult part that I have trouble with a lot of investors who are trying to get themselves in that CEO seat of realizing, hey, you need to make yourself unaccessible to these lower level employees. We're not being elitist here or anything like that. But what if you do want to scale to 10 deals a month and you have 15 cold callers on staff and a lead manager and a couple acquisitions manager and an ops manager and admin assistant, right? They're going to be coming to you for little things. Where's my pay? Or I'm having this issue. They're going to give you sob stories. You need to have a clear boundary between you and your employees, or else you're not able to focus on the $10,000 hour task. What if they're depending on you to answer a question about the dialer and you're about to walk into a mastermind event that you paid 20 grand for and your team didn't do any work while you were in that mastermind event the whole day? That's a bottleneck. This is why I call my company Build to Scale, right? I help investors scale their companies so they can get out of these roles right here and they can actually develop a hierarchy. But honestly, guys, you have to become self-aware and start looking at yourself in the eye and realizing what my strengths and weaknesses are and saying, you know what, I'm okay with these people not saying the right thing on the phone or them having a choppy Filipino accent. Guys, who cares? You think Dave Thomas from Wendy's, whenever he started his Wendy's franchise, cared if somebody black like me was answering the orders or maybe cursed out a customer here or there? Guys, no, he wouldn't have been able to expand 1,000 locations nationwide if he only had the type of people he wanted working in those stores. Let's just be real here, guys. So you don't have to like all your employees. You just have to make sure they're able to do the job and you have an acceptable standards and really give them acceptable leeway for the mistakes they're able to make because in that job, right? So my lower level employees, I'm paying $5 an hour. I'm not going to be asking a lot out of them. I'm not asking them to explain creative financing to my homeowners. I'm not asking them to do comparable sales. I'm not asking them to send off contracts. That's guys, that's where you're getting this thing twisted, is you do not know how to build actual organizations. And this is something that I have really spent so much time just wrapping my head around the last several years. I've gone to sleep thinking about these things. Okay. Guys, we want a lead manager who's able to follow up with these leads. Yes, guys, you can promote a cold caller to a lead manager, but some of you guys want an ops manager to be able to, notice I have these hats here. They're different hats. You want the ops manager to be able to wear the lead manager hat. You want the lead manager to be able to do the cold caller hat. Now, some of these profiles are interchangeable, right? If needed, I could have the cold caller go into the lead manager position, but that's only after they understand their baseline requirements. There are 3 to 5 tasks they're supposed to be doing every day for the company. Some of you guys want to promote too quickly or start cross-training too quickly. And guess what's going to happen? This funnel that I showed you guys is going to start getting all jacked up because you're going to start having people that are, you guys are going to start having people pull them from their primary job. And then you're going to wonder, why am I not generating any leads? Because you need to have that cold caller sitting in that seat every day, that texting specialist sitting in that seat every single day for this funnel to work. But no, what's going to happen is you're going to start pulling your cold caller to do follow-up. Again, you can do that. I'm not telling you what to do. It's your business. But I'll just tell you what worked here for me. You guys are grown adults. So I don't want to sound like I'm preaching to you. You guys are saying, well, Cece told me to do this. So let me change my language here, my vernacular a little bit here, okay? So what I would do and what I would suggest is that you can pull that person to do these one-off tasks here or there or slide in a follow-up specialist seat. But if you have them splitting their time between follow-up specialist and cold caller, you know, you're dipping your toe in two ponds there. And you need to have that person just in one seat, because that's really how you're going to see the benefit and the compound interest. Okay. It's like that avalanche example, that snowball example. If I had a snow machine and I decided to take the same amount of snow and spread it across 4 different areas on a hill, then yeah, I probably wouldn't even be able to make a snowball. I'll pour some of the snow over here, some of the snow over there, rather than just concentrating all that snow in one location. And then me being able to at least get some momentum in one area than trying to spread my efforts everywhere here, guys. Okay. So these are things that people are not talking about online, and it needs to be spoken about, right? You guys notice I didn't say AI one time in this call. Notice I haven't said any buzzwords. Notice I haven't talked about novation. Well, I mentioned it once. Guys, notice I'm not into all the buzz trends and stuff. I've been doing this for a while. Take my word for it. You guys can end up trying to do this stuff your way, or you can actually take what I'm saying, and you don't have to do everything. Guys, take what resonates with you. But I would just say, hey, at least 50% of this should resonate with you. Even if 50% of it works, and I talked to a guy yesterday, he said he had a $15,000 budget. He spent on education. They did a direct mail campaign. He didn't get a deal. Feel sorry for him. Well, at least if he listened to me, maybe he could have saved 7,500 and then spent, $4,000 on a marketing campaign with me. That's all I'm saying, guys. So when I look at this type of stuff, or when I talk about having focus, this is what I mean here. So again, you can have that cold caller call for you and then do some follow-up, but their primary job, whatever you have them do, should not take away from their primary job. Essentially the foundation. Your foundation is marketing. Okay. And I'll go back to my wholesaling timeline here. This is a timeline. I call it that for a reason, because this is the process of, if I were to start an LLC today, what's the first thing I do? I would do research in my market, figure out where the heck I'm even targeting, figure out if my market is even viable for wholesaling. Is it all rural land? Do I have getting cash buyers there? Right? Is it affluent? Am I targeting people that, own properties that are on lakes and beaches and golf courses, gated communities? Am I targeting too much of a distressed location where there's no cash buyers there and they're all zombie blocks? Okay. It's important here. And then what I'm going to do after that, guys, is do my list pool, skip trace, message delivery. And it's like algebra, guys. Each one builds on the previous one. If I trip up on one of these areas here and I slack off, or I don't do one properly, it's going to cost me. And that funnel is going to be thinner and thinner rather than a wide funnel. And then those leads pop out, and then I'm able to have enough leads to convert. Okay. So you guys, if you try to skirt any of these areas here, you're going to end up paying for it further down the road. And then you're going to think, okay, when you get further down here, oh, well, it's my acquisitions manager sucks, or, my buyer sucks, or my buyers list sucks, or, my cold caller sucked. When, did you even research your market? See, there's not just one attribute that contributes to a failing campaign. Okay. All right, let me check my notes here. So great. We have a question here. Hey, great day. Golden Arrow, Maryland real estate. How are you doing today? What are you doing to limit suspensions for SMS output? So if you stick with me for about 10 minutes, I'll go over this. Okay. I just want to get through the primary task that I'm doing here, or point I'm making, and then we'll talk about that. Okay. So I went a little bit everywhere here, guys. Let me go back to my main board. Let's talk about the marketing budget. But yeah, guys, here's the thing. I hope you guys are just understanding what I'm saying, and you're going with me here. Understanding at each stage, there's going to be different levels that you're part of for sure, but there's not going to be any part where you're completely out of the business unless you build the business to a point where you actually bring on like another owner and you're taking like 20% of the company. And I've seen people do that, right? Large companies like We Buy Ugly Houses and stuff, they're doing that. I've seen other companies franchise their businesses, but like 1-800 cash offers. I think that was Michael Coral's company, yellowletters.com. I think he sold that. And he may be getting like a percentage of royalty fees. Great. But he has somebody else who took his seat. So if you get out of the company, just realize you're going to have less of a percentage, but you're still going to have tasks that you're doing. But we should be focusing on the high level tasks, right? Vetting buyers, underwriting deals, coordinating closings, figuring out if a lead came through, hey, is there a different exit strategy you could offer them? Getting on the phone with the buyer and talking about the deal to a buyer to see if and giving them an address. Hey, I might get this under contract. Hey, I have it under contract at $70K, right? You tell them, the buyer, what you're going to wholesale it for. Say you have it under contract for $50K. Say, hey, I'm thinking about, putting this thing out there for $70K. Can you take a look at it? Right? Those types of conversations. Those conversations are very difficult to be had with a Filipino. Now, your Filipino, or even your, if you have maybe American dispo manager, they can have those conversations. But really, I found that those higher level dispo calls, they have to come from you. And to be honest, I would only feel comfortable with my Rolodex was with my buyers. Okay. Right. So like, I don't want a dispo manager coming in my business and all my buyers being tied up for him. He could basically just leave with all my buyers and they don't have a relationship with me, which is why I don't think it's a great idea for business owners to pass off all the dispo tasks to an American. And a Filipino could do it, but maybe not an American. Okay, so what would I do if I had a very high budget? Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm going to skip some intervals here, but we're going to say 7K to, it's going to be pretty high, 30K. And I've worked with people in all these types of, in this whole range, really higher. I would say 30K plus. Again, I've managed campaigns where we were spending about 50K a month in marketing, 30 to 40 cold callers. It was a blast. So what I would do is pull a 20,000 record list. I will have 2 to 3 cold callers, 1 texting specialist. And so we're going to do 1,000 leads per day, 1,000 records per day. And we're going to have, a follow-up specialist. And dispo manager, right? Hourly. I don't want you guys to think I'm contradicting myself, but this is basically just somebody who's going to cold call buyers and put the property on Facebook and vet realtors for flat fee listings. Guys, this is where I'm at right now. So I have a team who does all this stuff. So I'm not focused on these low level tasks, guys. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like I don't even know where the passwords for a lot of these things are. Just not my skill set. I do a way better job with delegating than doing. Okay. So, you can do 20,000 to maybe 30,000 records. And this is in order of priority. So if you're at the master level and you're just at the higher end price, you can do direct mail. And I'm an outbound marketing junkie, guys. So you can do direct mail. You can do, you can hire an acquisitions manager on salary, like 2K to 3K base, depending on where they're located, plus like 10% to 20% commissions. Right. So that's where most people are, and then most people that I work with fit any of these like buckets here. I think this will address like 99% of the people out here. So here, guys, you're going to be focusing on, you're not going to be doing any of these low level tasks, Excel, dialing, comping, learning these tools. No, you're going to be delegating at this point. Delegation is the name of the game, right? You don't want to be working alongside your employees. Also, your high level task is going to be pretty low at this point. At this point, you should really just be focusing on not vetting the buyers, but literally picking up and calling the VIP buyers, having a conversation with your dispo manager, your Filipino VA, and saying, "Hey, Jackie, talk to me. We have this property at 23456, zip code, 123 Main Street." In Philadelphia. I know you've been targeting buyers because guess what? We've been targeting this list for the last month. How many buyers do you have? Yes, boss, I have 100 buyers that I qualified. How many VIP buyers do you have? Well, I have about 10, and I have 10 solid ones that will buy in this zip code and fit our criteria. Great. Hey, give me a list of those people or tag me in the CRM and I'll give them a call. Actually, you know what? Better yet, call them and set up an appointment for me, Jackie. So you're not calling people cold. At this point, guys, the rejection goes down. So what a lot of you guys want to do is not have a budget, not spend the time, and not get rejected. So actually, you know what? I'm going to make a little line graph here. Oh, yeah. Guys, we're getting funky out here now. Let's go. I'm going to do a little timeline. I'm going to do low rejection. And then I'm going to do high rejection. Oh, guys, yeah, you gotta, if you're going over here, guys, you're going to get rejected. And I think a lot of you guys are avoiding that. And that's just not how this game goes, guys. That is not the name of the game. I freaking put this. 1 second. All right, this is bothering me. Let me do this again. All right, whatever. All right, so yeah, high rejection over here and low rejection. So the lower your budget, the more you're going to have to put yourself out there, guys. Right? So it's going to sting over here. Doing all this stuff yourself, you're going to get frustrated. I could say, you know, high frustration. I could put so many things here. High time commitment. Right? I can put sweat equity. See? Guys, this is real life over here, what we're talking about, okay? And over here, you just, you know, interchange these with low. All these will be the opposite. So, you know, a lot of people want the luxury of, having more. Let's see, give me 1 second. Wow, I can't type. Excuse me. Okay, so a lot of people want to have the luxury of actually having the higher budget and reap these benefits with the lower budget. I think that's really the mistake and blunder of social media. And, you know, not just if you're watching real estate influencers, but anything. You know, you're seeing people have these highlights in their life over and over again. That's why, guys, I don't have my news feed up. If I go on my Facebook now, you guys will actually see whenever I go on my Facebook, I actually have this. It's called the newsfeed eradicator. I don't see anybody's newsfeed at all. Guys, that's how mindful I am of what goes into my mind. That's how mindful I am of controlling my environment. On my front page, I don't have a regular Google page, right? Or MSNBC or any news. I have this, I forgot what it's called, this little dashboard, this to-do dashboard. And it has a nice background that rotates out. And it has a little quote down here. And then I could put what's on my focus today. Teach the people today, right? That's my main goal today. I would say check. All right, so guys, let me see if I have any questions here, and then we'll go ahead and hop off this thing. So, all right, so guys, hope you guys took some value from that. That was on my mind this morning. I really wanted to share that with you. So let's go into Q&A. Let's jump into it. So what are you doing to limit suspensions for SMS outputs? Okay, a couple of things that I'm doing for this is I am purchasing. I'll just go ahead and go to the board here. So I can copy. I was going to try to copy the chat here. So let's go to this here, guys. I don't know. I think it was to limit. What are you doing to limit suspensions for SMS outbounds? Great question. And I think I'm understanding what you're asking here. So a couple of things that we're doing. First thing is, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. You have to start with good data. Okay. The more wrong numbers you have that you're texting, the higher likelihood that Twilio will block you. Guys, this is, I split tested this because I actually texted a list, new phone numbers, like outbound DIDs and everything. But I texted a list I pulled like 2 years ago, and just as a split test, and we didn't get blocked or have any daily suspension for like months. And I actually told my assistant, hey, text this list just to see if we could generate any leads, because we do have success with cold calling older lists. But I was like, hey, text this 2-year-old list. And she did that. And within like 2 hours, the account got blocked or got a suspension for 24 hours. So, anybody that's using this 3-cent skip tracing, guys, again, you can use it, but you're just not going to have success here in texting, which is why there's so many little tedious things that I do and I'm willing to do, because guess what, guys, I have a higher budget. I'm able to hire more people to do these lower level tasks here. But if you're doing this on your own, yeah, it is a pain. It's tedious because we have to tee up 100 messages an hour manually. We don't just, go in REI reply and say, we want to send 1,000 messages a day or 500 messages a day and just send them off. No, we have to tee them up manually on the hour. And I have a VA that just does that. We have about 10 accounts with different LLCs. That's another thing, having multiple REI reply accounts. Guys, the more hoops that I have to jump through, the fewer hoops I know my competitors are going to jump through. So it's not impossible to do texting. It's just, what are you willing, what's the time commitment you're willing to put in? So again, if you have a low budget, you can't hire anybody to do this technical stuff for you. You're just going to say, oh, whatever, I'll cold call. And then you're going to cold call everybody else. The same list that everybody else is cold calling, which is why you're not getting any deals. Okay. So you have to start with great data first. Okay. Also, use 10 or more phone numbers. No, actually, you know what? Yeah, I would say use 10 phone numbers. All right. Check your phone numbers at least twice a week for spam. And I discussed this yesterday. And that's going to be nomorobo.com. That's free. And then it's going to be like lookup or something like that. You can check out my previous live, and I discussed that. I mentioned nomorobo often, guys. So you want to use 10 outbound DIDs. So the phone numbers you purchased in the account, they're called like DIDs, but they're going to be like your outbound phone numbers. Use no more than 10. Send no more than 100 messages in a 24-hour period using one phone number in a 24-hour period. But here's a kicker too, guys. You're also going to want to, give me 1 second. So it's you want to send no more than 100 messages using one phone number in 24-hour period. Give me a second here. Also, let's see. There's like one other point I need to emphasize here. I literally slipped my mind. Oh my gosh. I literally just lost the thought. So you have to start with great data for sure. The more wrong numbers you have that you're texting, the higher likelihood that Twilio will block you. That's for sure. Use 10 outbound DIDs, phone numbers. So send no more than 100 messages using one phone number in a 24-hour period. Check your phone numbers at least twice a week for spam. And guys, there's one more thing I'll probably remember in a moment, but once I remember, I'll put it there. Okay, it's something related to the phone numbers. Okay, sweet. So let me go back and look at the other questions we have here. But those are the best practices that I would utilize, to be honest. All right, sweet. So we are at our con skip tracing and batch leads, good skip tracing providers. So guys, I haven't used these skip tracing companies. Well, I used batch leads a while ago. I use batch for cold calling, but I have my own database that I use for skip tracing, right? Con skip tracing, I heard, is pretty good. But here's the thing, guys. I think con skip tracing gets you like 80% hit rates. So with that being said, if you're looking to follow my conversion formula, if you're getting 80% or 90% hit rates, you realize you're going to have to pull how many ever records more to make sure that you're compensating for those records that you have low hits on. So let me specify. If you have a lower hit rate, like 80% hit rate, and you pull 10,000 records, you have to pull what would that be? 2,000 more records. So you want to pull 12,000 records, if my math is right. Let's just say you probably want to pull 13,000 records if you have a tool that has 13%, or excuse me, 80% hit rates. So if you want to follow my formula, you want to do that, guys. I'm not going to recommend anything that that I don't use. Again, if you need skip tracing, hit me up. Just DM me or message me, info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. I'll take care of you. But I provide skip tracing, and that's just one of the services I provide. Just fair notice, I don't recommend any other skip tracing services because I sell skip tracing. So full transparency there. Okay, cool. So are you working certain markets, or are you using working nationwide? Excuse me. So are you working certain markets, or are you working nationwide? Yep. So right now I'm working certain markets, mainly the Midwest. I'll tell you guys the ones that I'm in right now. Cleveland, Memphis, Tennessee, and Kansas City are my main markets I work in that order. Previously, I was in Houston, Tampa. So those were my main markets I would rotate, and I really like. I just don't market to them anymore because Houston has a large Hispanic owner population. They're playing the same game that we're playing. And Tampa became quite affluent over the last years. A lot of the median sale prices are around $400K, but to be honest, the prices of the median sale prices, of some of the zips are in the $1 million range. So it's one thing if you have a market where some of the zips are around 400, 500, 600, 700K, but when you have several that are in $1 million, that tends to mean the whole market is shifting. That area is shifting upward to an affluent area. And guys, we're just not targeting affluent people. We're not, okay? I was in Baltimore too for a while, and I think that's a good market. I've been in and out of Philly, right? So Philly is a good market. Started in Charleston, South Carolina, right? That was one of my main markets I was in, okay? But yeah, so Cleveland, Memphis, and what was the last one? Kansas City. And see, a lot of people too are like, oh, well, why do you say that information? Da, 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 da. Guys, to be honest, you see everything it takes to make sure your company is running properly. I know even if I give you the same list that I'm targeting, guys, it's I'm going to perform better just because I have my system down pat. I'm not saying that to dissuade you, but this is all I've been focusing on the last several years, business building. And I have an obsession about teaching these things. Number one, I do think if you could teach it, then you know it really well. Keeps me sharp. And also, two, the questions keep me sharp as well. Guys, I need to remember this part here. This is irking me. So I use 10 outbound DIDs. I check the phone numbers with Nomo Robo. I send no more than 100 messages using a one phone number in a 24-hour period. Man, if I remember it, I'll comment after. There's another best practice that I use that I'm forgetting. I promise I'm not trying to hold that to my chest, but you caught me a little bit off guard there. My mind wasn't really on that. Okay, sweet. Guys, let me actually recap all this, and I'm just going to share one more thing with you. So here's the 80-20 of it, guys. When it comes down to it, the lower budget you have, the longer it's going to take for you to convert a deal, especially if you're just starting. But even if, guys, you're starting from scratch and you close 20 deals, if you don't have a budget and you spend all the money, guys, you're left with nothing. You're starting from ground zero, and you're going to have to build that pipeline up, okay? Right? So just realize and be realistic what your time frame is. Yes, you will get lucky. You can get lucky. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just talking about generalizations of an average and the law of averages I've seen. Guys, plan for what they say, under promise and over deliver. Plan for the worst. That whole thing. That's what we're looking at here. So you don't get discouraged and say, man, this doesn't work. Man, why would I, this thing doesn't work. And, for here, it's you could drive for dollars. You can door knock. Man, guys, this is a hard way right here. You could cold call in the phone book using your phone and risking your carrier marking you as spam. Guys, it's all about how bad do you want it. nobody's saying you can't do these things, but here, a lot of people want to be able to have these benefits over here in the right-hand side with this budget. So, but also too, one thing I want you guys to realize is that at each point, there is something important for you. There is a way that you can maximize your budget. So again, a low budget, I would probably pull a very targeted list of, 1, 2, 3,000 homeowners, and then don't spend any additional money on tools or a team. Just hammer it yourself, hammer that phone yourself. You're going to need to put in the hours after your work, after your job. You may need to put your kids to sleep and then get up at, 9 o'clock, target a place in California, in the West Coast. That's 3 hours behind you if you're on the East Coast. You got to get creative here. If you're like, man, I don't have any time to call any homeowners at 9 o'clock. Well, pick a market where it's 3 hours earlier. So if you put your kids to sleep at 9 o'clock, okay, let's target California, or excuse me, somewhere on the West Coast, not California because it's affluent, but you have a lot of places you could target, Seattle, that area, right? And then you can hit those people up in the Pacific Northwest, and you can have 3 hours of solid calling, which will be around people's time where they're actually home from work. And you're going to get people that are pissed off at you. It's going to be high rejection. But again, guys, if you want to experience that low rejection, you have to come with the budget. Use your credit, use something. Okay, I'm being real with you guys here. Okay, I hope that's okay. Mid-size budget. Let's recap that. You want to pull a list of 10,000 records. You want to hire a cold caller, a texting specialist, somebody you want to send off 500 records a day. This is going to allow you to be consistent. So I know a lot of you guys in the Facebook group have come in, and I have a question there with what you're struggling with, and about 30% of the people say consistency. Guys, if you're not disciplining yourself and doing these things yourself day in, day out, then you need to have a team to help you stay consistent, okay? Very important here. And so outsourcing this to an agency or cold caller or building a team yourself, I suggest an agency at this point here, especially if you're working. Let them do all the stuff with managing the dialers and all that type of stuff. And you're just calling the leads, okay? Guys, high budget. So when you get to this point, guys, you should be outsourcing all of the menial tasks. Anything under $5,000 an hour should be outsourced, okay? You're going to be pulling the list of 20, 30,000 records, 2 to 3 cold callers, 1 texting specialist, a follow-up specialist, and a dispo manager hourly, okay? That's if you're on like the lower end of this, like 7 to maybe 10K. You want most of your money to go towards marketing and volume, okay? Then at a master level, you're going to be focused on, like when you're around 10K to 20 to 30K, really focusing on bolstering some of these other marketing channels that not other investors are doing. Set aside 6K for direct mail, right? You're going to be able to get 1 or 2 deals from that a month. And those have probably like a 30 to 45 day cycle. Those are really quality leads. You're going to hire an American AM on a salary, probably 10% to 20% commissions. You're going to start delegating. But here's the thing, guys. Even if you had a high budget, I would suggest that you start here at this low budget or maybe mid-sized budget, because there's going to be things that you need to learn in order to manage and delegate tasks to a team. Super important here, guys. Again, I've had people that came and they were like, hey man, CC, I have a 100K budget. Like, let's spend it. And I was like, hey, let's not do that. let me run you through the fundamentals of actually running an investment company. Let's do a training, twice a week. And then let's put together your first marketing campaign and start underwriting some of these deals together and getting on the phone. That's like somebody saying, hey, I have $100,000 and going to an Olympic trainer and they haven't trained ever in your life. And they want to run a triathlon or do the triathlon at the next Olympics. There's no shortcut here, guys. And I want you guys to really, really understand that. You can shortcut some of these ways, but the knowledge, you go and gain certain things through experience. Experience is going to be your best educator. But does that mean that you have to sit here and learn how to manage these dialers, learn how to skip trace these homeowners manually, learn how to, sit on the phone and with these tools and these companies and start, and they walk you through the knowledge base to learn how to actually troubleshoot and solve some of these issues? No, you don't have to do that. But I would say when it really comes to the acquisitions piece and the dispositions piece, that's really where you should spend your time. Okay. What questions do we have, guys? What questions? Did I answer your question there, Michael? I think I did. Did I answer your question there? Golden Arrow, Maryland, real estate? I hope I did. And again, I'm like trying to remember this part here. Man, so I know I send no more than 100 messages. Let me just emphasize this a little bit more. So I send no more than 100 messages using one phone number in a 24-hour period, meaning I'm not going to, oh, this is what I was going to say. Only only one message delivered in 1 minute. Excuse me. Yeah, every minute. So only one message delivered 1 minute. And this is a workflow we have created in REI Reply where we're able to do this. So guys, listen, here's the thing. Gone are the days of just using Roar. I know all of them. Text Magic, Lead Sherpa, Smarter Contact, Easy Texting. Yeah, I know them, guys. ET's even building your own Twilio app to message sellers. Guys, gone to blast sellers. Like, guys, we can't do that anymore. We can't do that anymore. We could still blast sellers, but you have to, there's more steps. There are more steps and different best practices we need to utilize. Very important here, guys. Very important. Okay. I'll zoom in on this. So there's more steps we need to utilize. Now, am I going to say, well, texting is done? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what I will say is that we want to make sure that we are following these best practices. And again, guys, how did I learn these best practices? I even go through this stuff myself. So I sat there and I went through the technical documentation for REI Reply and some of these other texting tools, and I experimented. And it was a learning curve. Seriously, guys, since last year, probably early this year is really when I got the hang of it, and I started to be able to send off messages without getting blocked in my accounts. But it was like every day we were getting suspended, and we were just trying to figure out the best practices. So no, REI Reply probably doesn't even know these things, guys. REI Reply probably doesn't even know these things. I consider myself more of an expert on some of these tools than some of these knowledge bases, especially the Filipinos that they have there, not knocking them. So that was the thing I needed to remember here is like, you only want to send one message. Only one message is delivered every minute, right? So it's just one message. And then it's only sending 60 messages using one phone number in a 24-hour period. It's going to look like I manually texted those people. It's not, you want to stay underneath the radar of these carriers. And guys, we used to be able to just blast 5,000 texts in an hour. Those days are kaput. Now we could be frustrated and say, oh man, that's not fair. Guys, it is what it is, but there's always loopholes. Okay. So I'm glad I answered that and remembered that. So we have another question here. Cece, how would you advise those concerned about starting up in August when things typically slow down for REI in October and November? Hey, great question, Cameron. Listen, my friend, there are going to be some markets that are always materializing deals every single month, right? Some markets are just going to be good for wholesaling. Now, I would say this, and this may sound a little bit boring, but you want to prepare for fall and winter now. Prepare for fall and winter now. I wouldn't say things slow down. You just have to push more. Guys, I think that's a false belief system. That's a false belief that things slow down. Don't really slow down. If you have 1,000 leads in your CRM and all of them are on follow-up, these homeowners will actually choose you over your competitors during the holidays. That's something to realize, guys. So, I know the questions you guys probably, or the answer you guys probably want to hear to this is, well, what market do I choose? Or should I scale back my marketing? The only time I would scale back my marketing is probably during the last 2 weeks of the year. All right. Even in Thanksgiving, you want to pause during Thanksgiving for a day or two, but maybe like the last 2 weeks of the year, you can either pause or slow down. But other than that, guys, does Walmart close? Does Chick-fil-A close? Do seasonal stores close? Does Disney World shut down in the holidays? Guys, in warm locations, do theme parks shut down in warm locations during the holidays? The only reason why they shut down during the winter is because it gets too cold. But you better believe if it was warm, they would have those theme parks open. So by you marketing to homeowners now and building rapport, when you have a hot homeowner, they're going to ignore everybody else and they're going to sell with you during the holidays. Guys, I'd close 2 days before Christmas on some deals. And those are all from follow-up. You push. Guys, this is the business. You need to take your personal feelings out of it. And if it helps, guys, use an alias. Whenever I started, I went by Cornelius Garland. I never went by that name, and I don't really associate myself with that name, right? It's my name, but I don't associate myself specifically with Cornelius. I associate myself with CC and then Garland, if anything, because I went by that in the military. But when somebody called me Cornelius, it was almost like I was able to take on this different persona, right? Oh, CC Garland wouldn't call somebody on a Sunday to cold call or to lock up a deal, lock up a client, a high ticket client. But you better believe Cornelius Garland would. So if you have to, take on an alias, right? Take on, you're Cam Butler, say you're Killer Cam, my guy. Hey, I'm Killer Cam. Don't call yourself that to homeowners, but you see what I'm saying here. And do what you have to do to make sure you're going through the steps and try to remove yourself from the business. This is something that I was taught and it worked beautifully. And it really allowed me, guys, to ensure I was actually, it really allowed me to make sure I was actually pushing through these difficult areas in mental barriers in my business. Okay. So I wouldn't suggest slowing down. I would suggest now doing a lot of marketing and really focusing on your follow-up, because you're really going to be able to run off your follow-up during those months. Okay. Guys, you could give yourself any excuse not to do real estate investing. You really can, but let's not give ourselves any excuse. Let's not talk ourselves out of this if we really want to do this. Okay. That's a common misconception that a lot of investors have. I market every single month out of the year. So I'm not just getting on you because I thought about that, but you know what? We're in business here, guys. We're in business. All right. Next question. So how do you zero in on the people you're texting? So that all goes to the list, right? So the 10,000 records list that I'm targeting, Mr. Messiah, 3,000. Great question, my friend. This list that I'm targeting, and it rotates, guys. I don't just stay with one. Right now I'm targeting owner occupants, like a distressed owner occupant list. But I was targeting absentee homeowners exclusively for about a year and a half. Guys, I had to stop targeting that list. Why? I had to stop targeting that list because everybody started cold calling because they couldn't text, and then they start targeting absentee, high equity, tired landlords. Now these people are getting blown up, and these people are becoming more savvy. They're getting burned by more investors. So I need to target a demographic that isn't being hit up as much and less savvy, right? These guys, these tired landlords, they have access to bigger pockets. They may be going to the Rio for all you know. Guys, I'm getting more and more homeowners that are saying investor terms, and they're not really investors. I mean, they're accidental landlords. I would consider them accidental landlords. They own like one or two properties, their main property and their rental. But they're saying ARV on the calls, and you would think you're talking to a cash buyer. I had one guy who said, yeah, if you guys are looking for 70% of ARV, I said, what? Dude, crazy. So I'm targeting owner occupants now, guys. These people are less savvy. I'm catching a lot of owner occupants between between downsizing, or better yet, in some of the distressed zip codes I'm in, they have not updated their mailing addresses to reflect that they don't live in the house. So guess what? They're truly absentee, but they're not on the absentee list. So I'm targeting distressed owner occupants, and I'm getting a lot of people right now that don't even live in the home because they're in lower income type areas that are turning around, and the county isn't as, let's just say, diligent with updating the records in those lower income areas than they are in some of these higher affluent areas. So, that's what I'm doing there. If you want to talk to me about it more, you can email me, info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. Okay. Guys, last thing I'll do, and I just have to say this too, is a lot of you guys I was messaging, but I'm just going to put this out here because I'm getting a lot of messages here, I do offer lead generation. So I forgot to mention that yesterday. Shameful plug, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to tell you this isn't for everybody. This is mainly for my people that are in this mid-sized budget area. Guys, this isn't for your low budget or no budget. I would talk to you guys on the call here, but I would suggest if you are working a 9-to-5 job, or you are great at acquisitions or work great at acquisitions, and you just need leads sent to you, guys, this is what I do. I actually saw a invoice I sent off back in 2017. I'm going to find it. I've been doing this for a while. And it was for a guy named Ron, I think that's his name. And it was with my first company, Blip Leads here. And so I should redact this, but I'm not. He probably isn't living in the same area. But yeah, guys, 2017, man. 2017, lead generation. I think he was my first client. And we had Blip Leads back there. But it was monthly marketing, 2017, guys. And it was a direct mail campaign that we did. So yeah, guys, been doing this for a while. I love doing it. In addition to doing my own deals, I teach people, but really I love doing the lead generation. So if you guys want to get started with me, I'll just show you guys how. You got to either DM me, or I'll drop the link here in the QR code. And so once you drop that, it'll take you to a form, a Google form. And then once you go to this Google form, I'll get it, and then I'll schedule time to talk to you. Guys, I don't outsource my calls. Even if it's not a good fit for you, I try to leave you in a better situation, because I do think and have the mentality that everybody is going to eventually become a client, but may not be a great fit now. I'm into personality types, guys. So if you are an ENFJ, INFJ, ESFJ, ESTP, ENTJ, or ENFP, this will probably be a good fit for you. If you're like an INTJ or an INTP like me, or INFP, you probably could figure this stuff out yourself, right? But it's mainly the people that are really good at acquisitions that think they can figure all this stuff out, but they're not technical, right? For me, I wish I had something like this whenever I first started. And guys, I have different plans for everybody. So if you want to start off on Monday, well, we probably could start off on Tuesday. If you work with me today, you sign up. But I'm taking on about 5 people, and I'm going to be putting you guys in exclusive markets, pulling my distress list, getting you guys 50 to 100 leads. Guys, with the basic and pro plan, I am not cold calling. Guys, I'm leading with texting. And then we're treating the texting when we get a message back as if it's a cold call. Okay, guys, we're qualifying all the leads, and then we're sending them to you directly to your inbox. So it'll look something a little bit like this whenever you get them. It'll say new lead alert. It'll come from my email, info@ccgarlandmarketing. Oops, I didn't redact this information. But it'll have the seller's phone number, name, email address, property address, and then it'll have their asking price right here too. One second. I'm over here showing you guys this lead information. This is an older lead, but guys, don't call this person. Don't call this person. But yeah, so it'll give you the address, and also too, this is how all, if not all, the leads will look. Guys, cold, warm, and hot leads. So anybody who has motivation, if their individual is distressed, emotional distress, health issues, or they're asking 90% or under the ARV, or as is price, we send it over to you. But guys, the areas I'm targeting, they're for wholesalers, they're for cash buyers, they're for people that are flipping, guys. I know what you guys want. And we're going to be targeting people where the ARV is around 160 to 170K. And the people we send over most likely want underneath 100K for their houses. That's the demographic I'm targeting. Okay, guys, it's your job to do the qualification, right? Guys, a lot of people may say, well, how many contracts am I going to get? Guys, I don't know. It depends on how good you are at contracting homeowners. Now, for me, most of the people that I work with, they're able to get one really solid one and maybe another one that will contract and close a month or two later from now. But it's all month to month, and you don't have to worry about, being on this long-term contract. Work with me for a month, get 100 leads in your pipeline, 50 that we qualify and actually send over to you, and then close something out. Come back to us, give me a testimonial, and then let's keep this thing rolling. That's how most of my clients rock with me. I have some longer term clients that I work with, and we do actually strategic marketing campaigns. And we schedule those out for 6 to 8 months, at least at a minimum. But for investors that are really trying to get their company off the ground, this will help with your consistency, especially if you're good at acquisitions. Let me handle all this stuff right here, okay? And we do team training and all that every day. What else? Yeah, so the leads look like this. And as soon as we qualify them, you get sent to them. They get sent to you. And you also have a spreadsheet that we use. Let's just say we get a text lead, right? And we get 5 text leads. Our follow-up specialist called them, guys, and none of them picked up. Well, at the end of the day, you'll get an end of the day report, and it'll have all those texts in it as well. So we'll have all the texts in it. But we'll continue to follow up with those people day after day. We're usually able to get about 10 to 20% more people on the phone than when they sent that initial campaign, than when we sent the initial blast off for the campaign. So we're hammering the phones every day trying to get in touch with those people. But if it doesn't look like this qualified, we'll send you that text message thread, and then you'll be the one to call the homeowner. Okay, if you want, or we can just follow up with the homeowner if you want. Okay. So these people are super distressed. Bed, bath information's there, motivation, like the reason why they want to sell, the price. And guys, you do your thing, right? I've been doing this for really focusing on lead gen for the last 6-7 years exclusively. And I want to work with people, guys, that have been focusing on acquisition for the last 6 or 7 years, right? So, if you're new, this isn't really for you, right? Check out my YouTube channel. Try to put this stuff together yourself. But if you're really, if you are just like, hey, I don't want to do any of the marketing stuff, guys, tap in with me, okay? All right. So that's all I got there, guys. Hope you guys had a great day. If you don't have your phone with the QR code, let me see here. You guys can message me at info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. Any last minute questions, guys? Any last minute questions? If not, guys, I will see you guys later. I might go live later, just so you guys know. I'm on a little bit of a data dump splurge right now. I've been working just with 2 or 3 clients over the last 6 months, and I have a lot of insights, and so I may go back, and you may not hear from me for a while. But I think for the next week or two, I might just do these lives, and then I might just go back in the lab. It all depends what my workload looks like. But again, guys, it was great talking to you guys. Great comments. And I will see you guys later. Have a great Sunday. Bye.